of Sports Grandeur on OJ 106.3 FM Benin. My name is Ohis Eboreme, and I'm very sorry for not being here yesterday. I did all I could, but as they say, man proposes, God rearranges. Well, we are here today, and we'll still keep you abreast with activities around the sporting world. We'll talk about F1, where Kimi Antonelli is doing everything possible to ensure that he wins his first F1 Drivers' Championships, joining the likes of Sebastian Vettel, Mark Verstappen, and Lewis Hamilton, who is also doing quite well with Ferrari. All right, but let's go straight into it, starting with boxing. Our very own Anthony Joshua defeated Christian Prenga in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Of course, Christian, in the first 20 seconds of that boxing bout, dropped Anthony Joshua, and people feared the worst. In fact, before the end of the first round, he dropped Anthony Joshua again, but a knockdown is not a knockout, and he became tentative in the second round, and Anthony Joshua pounced like the professional fighter that he is, the legend. I can call him the legend. He's got 27 knockouts already, and he eventually knocked out the Albanian Christian Prenga, setting up a much anticipated encounter with Tyson Fury, who a day earlier in Pratava, Thailand, defeated Maurice Bush in 7 rounds. All right, so Anthony Joshua has lost only 4 fights in his professional career. Let's not forget that he is also an Olympic gold medalist representing Great Britain in London 2012 Olympics. All right, so Joshua has only lost to Andy Ruiz Jr., who he defeated 6 months after to retain his heavyweight title. He's lost twice to Alexander Usyk and once to Daniel Dubois. Other than that, he's won his remaining fights, and 27 by knockout. So Anthony Joshua is waiting to fight Tyson Fury. That is the most anticipated match, and all British heavyweight clash that will definitely happen. Eddie Hearn has said it, Anthony Joshua's promoter, and we will be expecting a bout of the ages, maybe likened to Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, or Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. Let's see how that pans out. All right, going straight into the transfers, we know that Yan Diomande is very close to joining Real Madrid. Of course, when Madrid are in the reckoning, they quickly jump the queue. PSG infuriated, but that's all it is to it. Real Madrid are ready to splash the cash, 135 million euros total package to RB Leipzig for the 19-year-old Yan Diomande, whose stock has steadily risen since he joined RB Leipzig last year. Let's not forget that he became the second youngest teenager to score 10 goals. The second youngest teenager, because of course, even if you're a teenager, the age is different. They are 18-year-olds, they are 17-year-olds, and they are 19-year-olds. So he's broken records, and he's also set some at RB Leipzig. Scored a hat-trick, of course, joining the likes of Lukas Podolski, who has also scored 10 league goals in their young ages. Did very, very well at RB Leipzig, and that has led to the jostle for his signature. At first it was Liverpool. The 100 million euros package during the World Cup was rejected by Leipzig, and PSG became Diomande's preferred destination. Well, Real Madrid have come to the forefront of the whole negotiation thing and taken it by the scruff of the neck, leading the race to sign the Ivory Coast international Yan Diomande, who did very well at the World Cup, of course, played to his strengths, and even the Ivory Coast couldn't progress beyond where they thought they were capable of. At the end of the day, they did very well, and hopefully in the African Cup of Nations we'll also see the best of Yan Diomande. Yan Diomande is currently is currently in the ranks of RB Leipzig, but Real Madrid are primed to sign him after missing out on Michael Olise, who is not going to leave Bayern Munich. Of course, nobody will allow that sort of world-class player leave after a fantastic season at Bayern, had the highest number of assists, also contributed the highest number of assists at the World Cup. So he has continued in that fashion. Right now, he is in the form of his life. He intends to continue playing very well under Vincent Kompany and linking up with Ismail Saibari, Harry Kane, Luis Diaz, Serge Gnabry, Jamal Musiala, and a host of other Bayern Munich stars. Because Bayern Munich have also secured the signature of Ismail Saibari, the Moroccan international, who unfortunately got injured in that round of 32 game against Canada. And in that round of 16 game against Canada, where they trounced Canada 3-0, and courtesy of Azzedine Ounahi and Brahim Diaz. So right now, Ismail Saibari will be playing at Bayern Munich next season. Let us see how that goes, because it will be very difficult to take that starting berth of Harry Kane, who in terms of numbers is the best striker in the world at the moment. Has scored in fact a truckload of goals for Bayern Munich and the England national team. Yeah, he couldn't do a lot against Argentina, but he rescued them against the Elephants of DR Congo, the Desert Warriors of DR Congo. So let us see. Well, Harry Kane has always shown how brilliant he is, world-class player, right from his days at Tottenham. So there are so many other transfer news that we would like to bring to your notice this morning. So many players are jumping ship. John Stones is still in negotiations with Inter Milan. Juventus are interested, Arsenal interested, Chelsea also. He's a free agent, yeah, right now after leaving Manchester City. Inter definitely ready to sign him on a 2-year contract on the Bosnian, of course. And John Stones might be ready to leave for Italy. It depends on his preference, but right now Inter are leading the race to sign John Stones. It's a free agent, so he's not going to be commanding any transfer fee. No club will be ready to collect any transfer fee because he is a free agent. So Aston Villa are interested in Nicholas Jackson, and that interest has been since May. Unai Emery knows him well, but reports about the possible loan are inaccurate. All right, so Nicholas Jackson did well at Bayern Munich as an understudy to Harry Kane. Definitely a substitute striker. Harry Kane was his starting 9 in that season, but anytime Nicholas Jackson was called upon, he contributed immensely. So a lot of clubs would definitely want to sign him, and Aston Villa have also shown their interest. Xabi Alonso surprisingly is looking for oldies. Danny Welbeck has been sounded out at Brighton and Hove Albion, and we're also hearing that Xabi Alonso wants to sign Jordan Henderson, the 36-year-old former Liverpool skipper. I wouldn't know why, but I'm sure there are things that Xabi Alonso knows that we do not. All right, so he's looking for oldies. He also had interest in Granit Xhaka, which has cooled. The Sunderland captain, who also is the skipper of the Switzerland national team, was interested in moving to Chelsea, but 8 million was seen as an insulting offer for Granit, even though he's approaching his 35th birthday. But well, let us see what is going to happen in that regard. But Jordan Henderson has been sounded out, of course, as well, in order to bolster the midfield options at Chelsea. Zinedine Zidane, Zizou, is the new France head coach officially until the World Cup in 2030. So it is similar to the Jurgen Klopp deal, who also was officially unveiled by the DFB. Of course, we are going to talk about Jurgen Klopp, how he told the media beforehand that if they attack him the way they attacked Thomas Tuchel, Julian Nagelsmann, and others, he is going to leave or walk out on them and walk away from the job without any compensation whatsoever. We expected Pep Guardiola to also accept the Italy offer but he didn't. He rejected it, and now we have seen why. Andrea Pirlo was going to sign for Italy as their manager, but because of his ties with professional betting brands from Russia, the Italian Football Federation decided against having him as the next manager of the Italian national team. That has led to the resignation of Paolo Maldini as technical director and Leonardo as advisor of the Italian Football Federation, because Paolo Maldini and Leonardo wanted Andrea Pirlo as the next coach of the Italian national team. Azzurri really need a new coach. Roberto Mancini has been there before, didn't do well. Juventus's Luciano Spalletti was there as well. Underwhelming performances from coaches that are natural born winners, have won different places that they have worked. Roberto Mancini has won the Premier League at Manchester City, and Luciano Spalletti has won the league at Napoli as well. Did very well at Roma for many years. The likes of Francesco Totti, Daniele De Rossi, Simone Perotta, Christian Kivu, and others were there under him. And Roma, well, they were also rounds. They couldn't win the championship after Fabio Capello did it for them with Cafu, Morales, Marcos, and co. But well, they were always within touching distance of the Serie A. They always performed brilliantly. Of course, when you have Air Pupon, Francesco Totti in your ranks, you definitely want to punch above your weight. So Zinedine Zidane has officially replaced Didier Deschamps as the coach of the French national team in a deal that is all through to the 2030 World Cup. So it's a 4-year contract. Zizou is looking to bring Fabian Barthez as the goalkeeping coach. Let us see how that also develops. So Zinedine Zidane is officially the coach of the French national team. All right, so Santi Castro has arrived in Roma ahead of his transfer as well. So Santi Castro, after Roma missed out on Crescencio Somerville, and also Alejandro Garnacho, who decided to go to Al Hilal and Aston Villa respectively. Santi Castro has decided to transfer from the Rosso Blu to AS Roma under Gianpiero Gasperini in a deal that is 35 million euros plus worth. All right, so he's valued at about 35 plus million euros. So Santi Castro definitely look to add to whatever is at Roma with Donyell Malen. Artem Dovbyk wants to go to Bologna, of course. Let us see if that will be possible. Artem Dovbyk, we remember, was very good for Girona with Savinho when they qualified for the Champions League. Highly unlikely that they could, but they did against all odds. All right, so both Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck are ready and open for Chelsea move. Of course, they will be. In fact, they were surprised. Danny is 36, Jordan is 36 as well. So personal terms already discussed and not an issue. Henderson to leave Brentford as a free agent. So club to club talks for Welbeck. So right now it is between Chelsea and Brighton. Personal terms are really not an issue for these players. They definitely make them offers that they will find difficult to refuse. Fenerbahce are set to meet with AC Milan and Rafael Leao's representatives to present an official proposal. So Rafael Leao will be looking to leave AC Milan. He was at Santos recently to watch Neymar play and also got his jersey. So Rafael Leao is still on holiday after Portugal were eliminated from the World Cup by eventual champions La Furia Roja of Spain. So Fenerbahce, let's not forget, already have the likes of Mason Greenwood in their ranks. They have Matsoukinia. They have very good players. They also got Nathan Ake from Manchester City as well. So they've got very good players already there, and they will look to add Rafael Leao. They want to stake a claim for the Turkish Superliga, which has been won in the last 2 seasons by Victor Osimhen and Galatasaray. All right, so Fener plan to try to buy Rafael Leao. Milan owner Cardinali doesn't open any door to loan moves. All right, so decision up to AC Milan and Rafael Leao. So let's see if Rafael Leao will be willing to leave AC Milan and join Fenerbahce. All right, John Stones to Inter agreement and approval on contract terms just arrived, all confirmed deal until June 2028. So John Stones has agreed to join Inter Milan. Stones will undergo a medical in Milano soon and will visit the Appiano Gentile as well as play at the Giuseppe Meazza, which is the home stadium of Inter Milan and AC Milan. Let's not forget that Giuseppe Meazza is an Italian football legend. All right, so broad agreement being finalized also between Leeds United and James Trafford. The verbal agreement with Manchester City has been reached, club-to-club deal in place for £40 million plus add-ons. Long-term deal being offered to Trafford. Trafford is 23-year-old, seen as the natural replacement for Jordan Pickford, who is aging. Dean Henderson is there, but I think the long-term goalkeeper's replacement at England should rationally be James Trafford. He's 23 years old. Was going to be number one until Manchester City went for Gianluigi Donnarumma, who found himself out of favour at PSG last season under Luis Enrique, who doesn't guarantee anybody a first-team shirt. Of course, Luis Enrique was comfortable allowing Kylian Mbappe to join Real Madrid, and since then he's won 2 consecutive Champions League titles. So why will you bet against such a man and his decisions? Of course, he got Lucas Chevalier to be the first choice and immediately replaced him with Safarov in the goalkeepers department. So Luis Enrique really doesn't care. Talking about Luis Enrique, he has also said Bradley Barcola can leave PSG. The French international has rejected a contract offer for an extension to remain at PSG. So Liverpool will be looking to quickly bid for Bradley Barcola. Well, Andoni Raiola and the Liverpool hierarchy are looking for a natural replacement for Mohamed Salah. For me, irreplaceable player, but someone who can definitely put in work and maybe contribute significantly. Maybe nobody can be Mohamed Salah. Salah is Salah, a uniquely gifted player, but they need that marquee player that will always be there, just like Cody Gakpo and the injured Ugo Ekitike. Ugo Ekitike is also on the mend and looking to return as the season progresses. All right, so people are preparing in earnest for the season. Nobody wants to fall by the wayside. AEK Athens have verbally agreed on a deal to sign Croatian midfielder Lovro Maha from Wolfsburg, fee over €6 million for merger. All right, so AEK Athens, of course, powerhouses of Greece, AEK Athens, Olympiacos, Panathinaikos of days gone by. They were very, very good at some point in time. All right. Rene Mitongo has agreed to join Trabzonspor from Standard Liège. All right, so the Belgian under-19 national team player will join Trabzonspor, now traveling to Turkey for his medical after an agreement with his agency Polestar on contract terms. So right, so Inter have already all but signed John Stones. The deal is looking to be completed after John Stones passes a medical. Hopefully that's the expectation, that he passes a medical and eventually signs as the new player for Inter Milan. Inter Milan also interested in Christian Romero, so I think they need that completely maybe a defensive overhaul. Well, they won the Italian Serie A convincingly last season, definitely spearheaded by Lautaro Martinez. But yeah, let's not forget the contributions of Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Henrik Mkhitaryan, Marcos Thuram and co. But of course, Lautaro Martinez led from the front as keeper and highest goal scorer in the Serie A last season. All right, so Petro Comozo will join Torino on a loan deal with buy option cross from Fiorentina. La Viola have lost out on Tolu Arokodare, who has signed for Ajax on loan from Wolves. Ajax will pay €1 million initially and with the option to buy. So Tolu Arokodare is going to Ajax Amsterdam, and dependent on his performance levels there, the transfer fee will increase if Ajax want to make the deal permanent. So a breakthrough in talks is the expected news from that side of town. All right, so that's very good for Tolu. Tolu, I don't know what has been happening, but he is definitely going to do well in Holland. He scored only 3 league goals for Wolverhampton Wanderers last season. Hopefully, he will improve on that number at Ajax Amsterdam. All right, Konstantinos Koretsas to Borussia Dortmund. All right, so Koretsas had 2 more proposals but said yes to BVB. The deal is 33 million euros plus sell-on, as reported. All right, so okay. We also said before that Paolo Maldini and Leonardo resigned because the Italian Football Federation chief would not sign off on Andrea Pirlo as the new coach of the Italian national team. AS Monaco have agreed the deal to sign Matthias Ablene from Nantes, 25 million euros plus sell-on. We'll also forget that Newcastle are also in the market for players that can replace the guys that have gone, the likes of Sandro Tonali and Tony Gordon. And Newcastle were prepared to welcome the signing of Johan Manzambi, but he decided to go to Aston Villa instead. The little P, Javier Chicharito Hernandez, has agreed to join Atletico Dallas, first signing over the USL Championship. Chicharito used to be a Manchester United player, very, very good player, whether starting or whether coming on from the subs bench. Very dependable player. In Mexico as well for the Tricolor. He did very, very well for them as well. Played for Real Madrid on loan as well. They also went to West Ham at some point. Como have opened talks with Jan Lukumi as the new target at centre back, as Colombian defender could leave Bologna. So the Rosa Blue are welcoming players and also letting players leave, which is natural when transfer window opens. Harvey Barnes has signed a new contract at Liverpool. At Newcastle, Harvey Barnes has signed a new contract at Newcastle. The agreement has been completed. Thankfully for Newcastle, Harvey Barnes did not follow in the footsteps of Anthony Gordon and Sandro Tonali leaving Newcastle. Let's hope that Nick Woltemada finally comes to the fore for Newcastle this season. The Rudy Vola look-alike, of course. Hopefully he can play as well as Rudy Vola, who is a German football legend. All right. So Sanko Diawara is set to fly to Milano this week for a medical at AC Milan. All right. So just 2 million euros from Troyes in France. All right. So some of these players are looking for pastures new, which is normal during the transfer window. So Liam Delap are not untouchable. Liam Delap is not untouchable at Chelsea this summer. He can move. Any player can be sold. Messi left Barcelona. Cristiano Ronaldo left Real Madrid. A lot of players can leave clubs, especially when you do not expect. When PSG triggered that Neymar release clause, that's when we knew anything can happen in football. Then we've seen massive transfer deals. Ousmane Dembele from BVB to Barcelona didn't quite work out. Has won the Ballon d'Or at PSG. So never say never. PSG and Juventus are both in talks with Parma for Zion Suzuki. PSG sees Suzuki as investment for future, but can't guarantee starting GK Sport. I am sure that is why Zion Suzuki is mulling over going to PSG, because they've got Lucas Chevalier and they've also got Safarov, who starts at the moment. Juventus want him as starting GK if Dibu Martinez deal collapses. So Suzuki clean, but no green light from Parma. So Parma are still keeping their cards close to their chest on if they will allow Zion Suzuki leave their club for Juve or PSG. We are here to give you blow-by-blow account as event unfolds. All right. So we said Toya Arokodare is going to Ajax, and it's been confirmed that he will play for Ajax next season. All right, so Bologna have finally agreed a loan deal for Artem Dovbyk from AS Roma, agreement until June 2027 for Dovbyk, who accepted the proposal and will travel for medical today. Santiago Castro will join AS Roma as said before from the Rosa Blue. All right, so FC Bayern agree on deal to sign talent Bara Sapoko Ndiaye on a permanent deal. The 18-year-old Senegalese is going to Barcelona, is going to Bayern Munich, I beg your pardon. So the medical has been done and dusted. Okay, so Bayern Munich, their clubs are signing talents in order to groom them at the academy or the second team for them to take the places of these older guys when the time comes. So they can even force their way in as quickly as possible. Remember Michael Owen, probably the best 17-year-old I've seen in Premier League history. Remember when Rooney started out at 16, Kylian Mbappe most recently. Some of these guys quite young, they do very, very well. In fact, performing well beyond their years. Okay, so okay, Genk and Borussia Dortmund had a meeting yesterday to try and advance on Konstantinos Karetsa's deal, which we said that Konstantinos Karetsa has chosen BVB. So all those discussions have now been put to rest. All right, so Josko Gvardiol will complete all formal steps, including media stuff with Manchester City to unveil his new contract. So hopefully we will hear more from Manchester City on what Rodri wants to leave Manchester City to go to Real Madrid for family reasons. He's 30 years old, has completed football, wants to, well, advance his career at Real Madrid. Real Madrid definitely a bigger club than Manchester City on all levels, in all ramifications. So Rodri wants to, and he will definitely be a starter. You do not buy Rodri and keep him on the bench. He's the best midfielder in the world. A virtue of the fact that he's won the Golden Ball at the World Cup. Not everybody wins the player of the tournament. He's the first player from the Premier League to win the Golden Ball at the World Cup. Manchester United fullback Nelson Mazraoui has picked Pantera as new agency to represent him. Nelson Mazraoui, the Moroccan international, came from Bayern Munich 2 or 3 seasons ago and joined Manchester United. Since then, he has been a dependable servant, a worthy contributor to. We haven't, Manchester United haven't really succeeded. 3rd place last season was largely unexpected after that bumpy start by Ruben Amorim. But Michael Carrick came and did his magic, did his thing. Manchester United qualified for the Champions League. Fulham said to approach Real Madrid to negotiate for Gonzalo Garcia. Let's not forget that the Fulham manager used to play and manage Real, used to play for and manage Real Madrid. So I believe that they are still in good terms, and Mourinho definitely likes Alvaro Arbeloa as well. So I'm sure he will sanction the transfer of Gonzalo Garcia, maybe a loan deal, or that kind of deal that Nico Paz has with Como and Real Madrid. Madrid definitely having that first refusal option. All right, so Dani Ceballos available as a free agent and exploring opportunities as he has signed with Fale Ramandani's Liam Sports Agency to prepare his next move soon. Okay, so Dani Ceballos used to play for Arsenal, and at Real Madrid he is now a free agent and can sign for any club he desires. Brazilian talent Heitor has attracted serious interest from City group side trial with initial approach made. So let us see how that goes. Beyond Galatasaray official note, Bayern and Jamal Musiala's camp have no plans to part ways this summer. How will Jamal Musiala at his age now move to Gala? He's still wanted at Bayern Munich. Of course, they know how good he is. Forget the injuries. A lot of players have injury woes, but they come back and do very, very well. Jamal Musiala was competent at the World Cup, quite efficient, made a few mistakes. Who doesn't make mistakes? But by and large, when he's fit, he's a world beater. So he should definitely be relied upon by Vincent Kompany and the Bayern Munich hierarchy. He can play that trequartista position very, very well for any club. So being at Bayern Munich is definitely a plus for the German side, as well as Jamal Musiala. Nottingham Forest have sent a new official bid to Feyenoord for Javier Reed, worth 21 million euros. All right, so negotiations continue while there's already green light from Reed for NFFC project. I said it before that personal terms are not an issue for these guys. They really do not complain too much because the deals being offered are difficult to reject. Thiago Pitach has suffered a knee injury in Real Madrid's first training session. Is expected to be out until the beginning of September. All right, so for Thiago Pitach, that's a bit of a setback. Let us see how he comes back from that. Galatasaray announced all reports on Jamal Musiala deal on loan are not true, which we expected would not be true. Memphis Depay has agreed all terms with Corinthians over a new contract. The vice captain of the Netherlands national team, Virgil van Dijk, is the captain, but he is Netherlands' all-time highest goal scorer, has signed an extension until June 2028. All right, so it's a 2-year deal, a 2-year contract extension. Memphis will remain at the Timao for the time being. All right, Paris Saint-Germain are very upset about the Yan Diomande saga behind the scenes, but who cares? Paris Saint-Germain have also poked their hands in the eyes of other clubs, so they should definitely get served what they dish others. So Paris Saint-Germain will be looking elsewhere. Kangin Lee has also signed for Atletico Madrid from Paris Saint-Germain. So while they are losing players, they are looking to add a few to replace the guys who have gone. Schalke 04 have agreed on a new deal with 19-year-old centre-back Metkan Ahan. Of course, Schalke 04 has also agreed with Edin Dzeko to extend his contract by a year. So for Schalke 04, they want to do very well in the German Bundesliga. Let's not forget that Schalke 04 and Borussia Dortmund always have that Reveille derby, that raw derby, which excites the world and fans alike. We said before that Edin Dzeko, the football legend, of course, Bosnia legend, has done very well at clubs he has played for, scored a lot of goals, 40 years old, doesn't seem to want to stop, doing very well, has extended his contract at Schalke, was significantly contributed to Schalke's promotion push, and that definitely resulted in a positive outcome for Schalke. All right, so more transfer news on the way. Arsenal have agreed a deal to sign 16-year-old talent Axel Donkzil from Cardiff City. So while they are looking at bolstering their ranks in terms of their first team players, they are also signing young stars into their academy. Juventus manager Luciano Spalletti has said Emi Martinez is a player who wants to move this summer, and we are looking for competition. We already have 2 good goalkeepers, but we need more. So if Dibu Martinez leaves Aston Villa for Juve, he will definitely start. Or Zion Suzuki leaving Parma for Juve. PSG have said they are interested in Zion Suzuki, but are not guaranteeing him a starting shirt. So that will definitely play in the mind of Zion. He will want to go to another club and start, because he starts at Parma. He wouldn't want to leave Parma and start warming the subs bench. Arsenal set for new club to contract. They contacted Newcastle 2 days ago for Bruno Guimaraes. The Newcastle captain is looking to leave Newcastle and join Arsenal, but club to club have to agree. I'm sure Guimaraes has agreed personal terms already. All right, the big news in basketball is that LeBron James has signed for Philadelphia 76ers to join the likes of Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Edgecombe, and Jaylen Brown at the Philadelphia 76ers. So basketball in Philly has seen an upsurge, and definitely ticket sales will be off the charts. So LeBron has decided to join the Philadelphia 76ers in a deal that will see him earn $8 million per year. Of course, he's taking a pay cut, but he wants to do very well. He's 41 years old, will be 42 in December, but that has not stopped anybody from doing well in the world of basketball. But LeBron is definitely breaking records at 41. He's still doing very well, still hungry, still wants to win championships. And Charles Barkley has said that if LeBron wins a championship or back-to-back championships at Philly, he will definitely be crowned the greatest basketball player who has ever lived. But well, that is his opinion. A lot of people see him as the greatest basketball player. A lot of people say it is Michael Jordan. Some say Kobe Bryant. Some say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Some say Will Chamberlain. Others have said it is Bill Russell. Some say Magic Johnson. Some have said Larry Bird. Some have also said Tim Duncan. So it's a matter of choice, but Michael Jordan dominates these conversations because he's won 6 rings, got to 6 NBA championship finals, and won all 6. So 6 for 6 for Michael Jordan. So he's a lot of people's choice for the greatest basketballer of all time. LeBron is closing in. Kobe Bryant unfortunately met his end some years ago in that helicopter crash that also took his daughter Gianna and some other people. So we'll see eventually when LeBron calls time on his career who will be the people's choice for the greatest basketball player who has ever lived. It is still an ongoing debate in football, Cristiano Ronaldo and Leo Messi. It is still an ongoing debate in tennis. Is it Roger? Is it Novak? Is it Rafa? Some say Rod Laver. Some say Pete Sampras. Some have said Bjorn Borg because he retired early and won 11 Grand Slams. So there are so many people who have their choices in this sort of thing. Some have also said Andre Agassi won 8 Grand Slams, won the Golden Slam, won Olympic gold, also won everything on offer, was world number 1, returned in his 30s under Darren Cahill, and won the US Open. Also got married to the great Steffi Graf, who won 22 Grand Slam tournaments as well. So, well, F1, we've not talked about Formula 1 on this show before. This is the first time we are going to be talking about Formula 1. So 5 different drivers have been victorious this season in Formula 1. Alright, so Kimi Antonelli has been victorious so many times. That's why he is the leader of the driver standings. Kimi Antonelli has won it. Lando Norris has won it as well. Max Verstappen doing very well. Max Verstappen, let's not forget that he's a multiple drivers champion. Right, so for the Hungarian GP, we have seen people win it in 2023. It was Verstappen. 24, it was Oscar Piastri. In 25, it was Norris, and in 26, it was also Norris. So we will give you the Formula 1 drivers championship driver standings in a bit. Let's not forget that it's a new order in Formula 1. At some point it was Michael Schumacher, then we had Fernando Alonso at some point as well, then Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, and lately Max Verstappen. For Max Verstappen, he is not doing quite well as expected this season, but well, that is how it is. It is not every time you actually dominate. So right now, the top drivers and points: Kimi Antonelli from Mercedes, 219 points, leading by 50 points over the second place Lewis Hamilton of Ferrari, 169 points. All right, George Russell of Mercedes, 160 points. Charles Leclerc, one of my guys, Ferrari, 138 points. Lando Norris of McLaren, 128 points. Max Verstappen, the defending champion, Red Bull Racing, 109 points, and Oscar Piastri of McLaren, 92 points. Isaac Hajar of Red Bull Racing 68 points, Liam Lawson of Racing Bulls 43 points, and to round up the list, Gasly of Finn 42 points. So Kimi Antonelli is leading the Formula 2026 Formula One driver standing and leading with, in fact, he's leading comfortably with 50 points over the second, or well, his closest contender or closest competitor, Lewis Hamilton of Ferrari. Just to give you a brief look, well, let us look briefly into Kimi Antonelli. He will not be 20 years old until the 25th of August, so he is still a teenager. Kimi Antonelli is a teenager and is doing very, very well. He is an Italian racing driver who competes in Formula One for Mercedes, and he has won 6 Formula One Grand Prix since his debut last year. So Kimi Antonelli is primed to win his first drivers' championships this season. He is 19 years old. Let us repeat that for the purpose of those who did not hear the first time. Kimi Antonelli, who is leading the Formula One drivers championships or Formula One driver standings, is 19 years old. And Lewis Hamilton, who is in second place, has won 7 drivers championships. He is, of course, tied with the great Michael Schumacher on 7. So let's see if he breaks the tie before he calls time on his career. A lot of people have tried and they haven't succeeded. Some have won 4. We remember Sebastian Vettel, when he won 4 straight, we thought that he was going to dominate for a long time. Yet when he saw that he couldn't keep up, he had to do the honorable thing and retire. All right. So, well, we have to also talk about tennis in the build-up to the major tournament, the US Open, which commences next month at Flushing Meadows. So many tournaments are being played at the moment, and over the weekend we'll give you some time. Well, Grigor Dimitrov has withdrawn from Los Cabos. Hopefully he gets well soon. Kei Nishikori has said multiple times that one of his motivations is to keep going, and he has faced so many injury woes in his career, and hopefully he will do very well in the coming tournaments, because he is closer to retiring than actually doing anything worthy of note. All right, so Kei Nishikori, let's not forget, reached the final of the US Open in 2014, but lost ultimately to Marin Cilic, who won his first and only Grand Slam championship there. He also reached finals in the Australian Open and Wimbledon as well, losing both to the one and only Roger Federer. All right, so well, Jack Draper unfortunately has had to pull out again. So many issues this last few months, but adversity and setbacks. Most days I have spent in doubt, yet hopeful that I can keep taking positive steps forward. All right, and well, finding ways to progress. On days off, I reflect, and I am only grateful for the struggles, or well, for the struggle and what it's teaching me. Finding acceptance and being patient with the process has been my biggest challenge, but I know I am getting closer to where I want to be. Well, very lucky to have such amazing people to help guide me through this. Thank you for all the support and love. All right, that's quite touching, but I hope that the injuries give him a break, because Jack Draper is doing everything to be fit to play tournaments, and at this point he is losing the battle to injuries. Hopefully he can do quite well because at this point a lot of things are going wrong for Jack Draper. All right, so 46-year-old Venus Williams got her third win of the year to reach the doubles quarterfinals in Washington alongside Dan Schneider. All right, 6-3, 6-4 over Kerry Gleason. The best Venus has hit her forehand in a while. Plays her singles round one tomorrow, which is today, against Anastasia Potapova. So Venus won her doubles yesterday with Dan Schneider, and she will be playing her singles round one today against Anastasia Potapova, and she is playing right now at the DC Open in Washington. So Venus and Serena and Dan Schneider won that match 6-3, 6-4, so in straight sets. So that's some tennis news for you. There's more. Alexander Tabilo defeated Talon Grispo 7-6, 4-6, 6-4, and that Mubadala opened debut. So Tabilo prevailed in that particular match. All right, so Lorenzo Musetti is back and into the second round in Washington DC. The Italian player who has been in the top 10 for some time, of course, has left the top 10 now, who was a consistent top 10er. Well, injuries have also prevented him from playing consistently as well, but he is back in the second round of the DC Open. There were some people who won tournaments last weekend who haven't been here for some time, so we'll definitely update you on that. So the new career highs on the ATP Top 100, the new world number 32 Celebrando blocks of world number 48 Venasio and world number 79 Faria. So, well, that's for tennis. So many other updates will be provided as the week of course goes by. So yeah, let's also talk about the WAFCON, the Women African Cup of Nations going on in Morocco. We're going to talk about Esther Okoronkwo, who has faced racist abuse. A lot of people have come out to insult her race because she cried out that the Super Falcons were robbed in Rabat in their hotel, the Marriott Hotel in Rabat. And quite unfortunate because Chiamaka Nnadozie also lost her jersey as well, her kit. And that was recovered some time ago. Some of these players were robbed in their hotel rooms by whoever, and a suspect has been found who has confessed to the crime. But Esther Okoronkwo faced a backlash because she came out, she was bold enough to say, we have been robbed, and she's got every right to say that. And she definitely faced racial slurs, racist remarks. That has no place in our sport. We always say that racism has no place in football. Football is bigger than racism, will always be bigger than racism. And at this point, we will continue to speak out in favor of those who have been racially abused. And it has no place in our sport. Our club, AFC Toronto, came out and stated categorically that racism has no place in our sport. But people, the NFF, have not said anything to that regard. So while we're looking for what AFC Toronto said, we'll continue to speak out against racism of any kind, whether it is Esther Okoronkwo or any other person. But right now, we are saying no to racism because no matter who you are, racism is not something that we are going to condone in our beautiful game. So let us read out the statement by AFC Toronto. There is no place for racism in football, in sport, or in our communities over the past few days. Esther Okoronkwo has been subjected to racist abuse while representing Nigeria at the Women's African Cup of Nations. At AFC Toronto, we believe in football, and we believe football should be a place where everyone feels safe, respected, and valued. We are proud to stand with Esther and all athletes who face racism and discrimination both on and off the pitch. Well, as Esther shared, hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. And Esther Okoronkwo has also told those who racially abused her that they will see on the pitch. Continuing with WAFCON updates, the Super Falcons, 10-time champions, complete with six-time African Footballer of the Year, African Female Footballer of the Year, Asisat Oshoala, will be playing today, tomorrow. All right. So for the WAFCON games that have been played on Sunday, Algeria defeated Senegal by 2-0. Morocco, the hosts, trounced Kenya by 4-0. Tanzania shocked South Africa by 2-1, and Ivory Coast trounced, demolished Burkina Faso by 4-1. All right. So those are the matches that have been played already. So well, for the Super Falcons, they will be opening against Malawi. They haven't played Malawi before. They'll be opening against Malawi today, like I said, and Zambia will be facing off against Egypt. So Asisat Oshoala, Esther Okoronkwo, who doesn't seem to care about the racial slurs and the racist remarks, will be filing out against the Malawians. Nigerians are the defending champions. They came from 2 goals down to defeat Morocco and secure their 10th title. Let us also point out that all the promises made by the federal government regarding monies, apartments, and whatever haven't been received by the players up till now. 1 year on, nothing has been done, and that is typical of Nigerian government. Really typical of our politicians. They say one thing and they can't keep their promises. The only promises they keep, we know the only promises they keep, but that's not for us to discuss on Sports Grandeur. That will be all for Sports Grandeur today. My name is Ohis Eboreme. Like I said, we sincerely apologize for not being here yesterday, but we'll continue to do our best to be here when called upon. Thanks a lot and have a wonderful day as we sign out. Cheers.